we got a mess. Here's where the blowout is. That's okay. We'll deal with it. There's a way to control erosion, man. Just put in a cattle panel on G-post. It'll actually hold back. Look at this. Has just happened on its own. I'm making a terrace. It just silts up and solidifies, and pretty soon I'm holding back water. Pretty cool. So here's the main deal here. This is running across my driveway. This needs to be dealt with. Also, when my solar pump runs too long, this is where my excess is running out. That has to be dealt with. So I wanted to show you my, as you can see, everything kind of focuses right here and right here. So a lot of the water coming down from that part of the hill will go in here. More of it goes right through my gate. I'm going to show you some of my existing food forest. Now I do have my gray water on my house separated out in the black water. It's a small septic, and man, it's still, my septic runs underneath all of this. So when we get a lot of rain, my septic starts having issues. So I have to pump out that tank every once in a while just to get all that rainwater out of the middle. So here is my swales, really full, in my food forest. So this is basically working. It always needs a little tweaking, but when you see water standing like this continuous puddle, not running, holding water nice and still, that's kind of where you want to be. You're infiltrating water. Now I don't want this to be here 4 days after it quits raining. I don't want to. It's gone in about 2 days, which is ideal. 2 to 3 days. But again, everyone kind of, you can't get each swale to perform exactly the same. This is a beautiful swale here. Look at this. All the way from there, by where the cows are, one continuous, and this is kind of a relief here that runs it over to the next. And I made some mistakes on this bed when I laid this out. I did this years ago. This is my first attempt at permaculture. So I kind of followed what they had. But I've had some successes with it. Okay, see how that pond, and then you have a break, and then you have another pond. Not ideal. Now I seeded these beds here. Hopefully we get something going. I haven't seen a lot of stuff sprouting. I don't know if all my seed washed away. This is traditionally a very wet. Oh yeah, look at all my little garlic. I got those bulbils and just tossed them out in the rows to see if they grow, and now I got garlic in my walkways. Maybe we'll be able to move it. And this has silted up quite a bit. This kind of was my last ditch. You can see my water is kind of like, again, trying to leave through this gate right here. The back of my garden needs a little help, but it's just trees, and they're doing fine. And the water does not often make it all the way down here. So let's see how this. Walking through about 8-10 inches of water, 6 or 8. A little bit deeper. We're really holding some water here. So this is lettuce beds here, theoretically. If any of my seeds, I don't even remember what I put on there. We kind of just rototilled it and changed it around. We've always had water washing out here, so we're holding water back, which is excellent. I haven't always held this water back. It was blowing out right about here. We got a 12-14 inch drop, and we're holding water. But again, this only gets this full just a few times a year, because a lot of times the upper swales will fill when it rains, and then the water doesn't make it down through all the swales. But right now we're at full capacity. Water's leaving right there. See that pond on the other side, little puddle. So I wouldn't want to push. I know, I'm getting ready to move you to a new place, guys. Hush, they're hungry. I'm going to move that water all the way down and let it out that other gate, ideally. So I'm going to take uphill. Let that little walkways work through here. But my main walkway up here where I got drainage pipes from one section to the next, so I can have a halfway decent walkway. So whenever it gets shallow, obviously you need to go a little deeper. Oh, this is running. But that's okay. I mean, it's full. I mean, how much more water are you going to hold? It's full. But you see this is where your erosion is going to happen. See that water moving? Here's my good walkway here, and it's working. Problem is rats like to live in those little tubes. So we put a weed blaster in there and blow them out. But then I've melted my pipes. So I'll put some new pipes in. Here's a upper spill, I'm bringing it off the driveway. See how it's not going to the left? Because I get so much water down there anyway. If I could turn some of the water back in up here, further up the hill, you can see there's a lot of water moving here. And that's good. I try to get that water uphill. I can't really get it to the right. I keep trying, but it keeps kind of wanting to turn left on me. So I'd have to dig it so deep. So I'm just this is kind of a dry patch here, but just got these locust trees. They'll be fine. See all those shoots? That's the locust trees going down after water. We gotta dig all those up and replant them. We need to do that really quickly, actually. So this is kind of a little spillway. It gets water. It's pretty full of chips. You can see a little bit of standing water. So this water is making its way somewhat to the right here, but you can see it spilling out right here along these barrels. So I need to at least build this up and get that water going more uphill. We don't need any more water downhill. And now we're looking at a whole different thing up here. Upper swales are not that full. Not like I'd like them to be. Right, here's another. You see some water's coming down through here like it's supposed to. These beds not as wet as I'd like, but then they get really wet. It's kind of wet and dry here, so it's kind of what do I do with that? This is a decent swale. You can see it's basically level. What I would have to do is put my pipe a little bit higher, but you can see this terrace and the terrace below, two different heights. So we're doing a pretty good job here. You would just have to understand that this might get a little more dry up here. Now that down there that's a good swale. See, it's try again slowly. See how it's got solid, no running water all the way up to where those shovels are. That's a nice swale. And same as this. Now what I try to do here is I try to shunt some of that water off the road. I cut little ditches like this. There's one here, it's kind of filled in, but the water does come in here off of the driveway. You can see it running downhill. See that water running? That ditch right there is going down and taking a left down by the other gate we just came in, by that solar panel down there. I would rather probably more of that water come in here, so I'd have to work right in that area where it's running, fill in a little gravel and cut it this way. I have so much stuff washing down from hills and so forth. It keeps changing the way my water flows. I got to get rid of those rapids and turn it and get it down here into this part of the garden. And the basic thought, we're walking on a whole bunch of wood chips here, is that water will come in here off the driveway and go into these keyholes. So there's no way out for this water. It comes in, it's not going out. We're trying to get that rainwater to settle in and then water these beds. So uphill is actually more wet than downhill, but who knows how much water is underneath those wood chips. So this is all keyholes through here. We got to rework this part of the garden heavily. This is a good option for at least some food crops this year, just right in here. But we're working our way down the hill. So up here is where we've been working. I had to let the cows in. They knocked over a few trees. But I was like, I can't keep up with all these weeds and all this comfrey. So now this is my feed sack. I have a previous video showing that. And you can see where my bed is a little too high. I got to put another set of bags right along there to help hold the... That store-bought cabbage, it just looked a lot better than mine. It was hardened off, so I just bought it and put it in. I'm trying to put it in. These are all blueberry and strawberry beds. 2 blueberries and then strawberries. And I haven't gotten all the way down. And again with the keyhole, with the inlet facing uphill, trying to bring water in off of the gravel and in there. It's working somewhat. Anyway, I try to get that moisture in here and again infiltrate it. But down this, where this wheelbarrow is and where this dolly is, this is a dry part. I got to get more water in here. And I can, again, pull it in uphill, get in the garden as soon as you can. What's happening here is that really nice swale on the back side is taking the water away, I think. I don't know. I think I see water movement here. That's what I want. I think it looks like we have water moving here when this gets full. But I think we also are losing water out the backside. Maybe not so much into that ditch. Again, I might have to adjust this. It's nicely deep here. I'm not sure where we're losing our water to. We're holding it. I have to get out here when it's raining. I see water running there. So it might be kind of just infiltrating under this. But we're actually, because when we were clearing the slope, we got all that hay in the way. We're actually made another swale up here. It's a little higher than that one, which is what you want. So this is obviously the driest part. You see this water running down the hill. I would want to turn that back into the garden and get it in right here somewhere. If I just put a mound right across here of just dirt and get that water flowing in through where, basically where this gate is, I can turn more water into this garden and change this upper dry part here. And then I'll walk you through this last upper part. My battery didn't go on me. So this is the back and forth that I was talking about. Egyptian walking onions, garlic and cilantro, the little garlic bulbils. This was a row of collards that didn't do anything over the winter. I had lettuce on the lowest side. I always put the lettuce on the wet side, the lower. So I put my lettuce there, put my lettuce here to the right, and no lettuce. Now I'm just following the path of the water here. And this is working. You know, usually your downhill side will be the slow part of the U. You'll have more water sitting. I'm losing water right there. Not good. Have to build that up. Losing water right there. So if I increase my dam here, and then I'll push my water more around that corner, that high spot. This is typical though. Uphill side is running fast. You got rapids, and the downhill side is slow. It's like a regular river. And now we're at the very top of the ridge up by the road. Super dry, you would think. Now this is working. I haven't been out here to see this working. I put that little dam in. We are losing a little water over the top. Probably good though, because you need some help if you're getting too much water. You need a relief valve if it's like really a downpour. So sending it down to that ditch down there and down to the frog pond, that's good. That's good. But we're holding good water here, and we are getting anything from up where we started. The maple tree is kind of the top of the ridge, all that water running down here. We're getting a good portion of it into the garden here. So while I'm here, I'm just going to kick some of this. The reason I'm doing this is to help. I don't want to release too much water, but I don't want it blowing out on me. So it's always kind of fine-tuning. Hold as much water as you can without eroding things. This is obviously eroding. That's a problem there. Not a huge problem, it's just I need to take note of that. So now I've kind of walked you through the hydrology of gardening and food forest. And this is why I don't mess with drip lines anymore. It's just too much work. Too much expense to keep all that infrastructure working. Expensive time and money. I just hate drip line now. I'm ripping it out everywhere that it's in. I just don't even want it. And I'd rather just take my chances in the summer. But if you get any kind of decent rains, you can see where you're infiltrating this clay. This clay is getting wet underneath these beds. It is holding moisture for a long time, but it's not too much moisture. And it's encouraging the plants that start off in this fertility, they go down after that water. And after they have this type of fertility, they can go down in that clay and they can get their minerals and moisture. And that's good. You want those roots getting deep. And that's what I'm encouraging here. I just use this. This is only 6 or 8 inches of black to get everything going, and then I try to get it on deep. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm trying to answer them specific to hydrology, you know, food forests and gardens, irrigation-free gardens. As far as manual, I'm just trying to get the rain to do it. And I want to tell you, whenever you do this, when it rains, there's nitrogen in the rain. You're getting nitrogen, a very low dose, but there's nitrogen. Atmospheric nitrogen is put into the water. You don't need fertilizer. If you can do this, you're going to bring enough fertility that you can grow most things. You don't need mineral salts. You don't need petrochemicals. We don't need to be reliant on big ag. Potatoes laying out here in the rain. Ugh. Oh, sugar. I left my bag of bulbills out here. That's my garlic bulbills. I need to put those things up so they don't get all more wet than they are. Just scatter them everywhere, I think. Now if they're all soaking wet, that's probably really bad for them. That's an idea. And this is mid-May, so you can look up there on that ridge and see. That's a lot of what Virginia is looking like right now. Dry, rocky ridges with boom sedge on them. Not a lot of green. There's a little green underneath. You can see not much happening. Now take a look at my stuff. This is what happened over here. When you start, well, I did truck in fertility for my cows, but a lot of this is also just rainwater and slowing it down. It works. This is lush. If I could get my cows in here, I would. I did it differently. I'd rather have grazers be able to come through. I've made it where I have to do all the maintenance myself. It would be ideal to have those grazers come in and clean out all this dead nettle and chickweed and all that, and so I would change some things. Anyway, that's another story for another time. I just wanted to show you my pre-equinox food forest and garden. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Wiggle Out.